It is a cemetery unlike any other that you've heard of before. It is a living, natural reef.
What we're doing is creating life after life.
No one ever wants to talk about death. It's an inevitable thing. We never want to talk about it, but I think now is the time to do it. And if you want to go this way, this is the way you plan it for yourself.
Florida's Fourth Estate with hosts Ginger Gadsden and Matt Austin. The show where we bring Florida into focus. Sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
It can be so uncomfortable to talk about it, but sometimes it's necessary. Today on the podcast, we're talking about death. And I don't want to freak you out. I don't want you to turn the channel because this is something different. It is a cemetery unlike any other that you've heard of before. It is a living, natural reef, and we are very excited to talk about it with you today. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gadsden. That intro made me think that you wanted to talk about the birds and the bees. It's a topic that's uncomfortable, but also necessary.
It's kind of like the birds and the bees, right?
I wasn't, no.
Well, the opposite.
We'll talk about the birds and the bees later, Matt. But today we're here to talk to Michael Tabers. He is the Community Resource Director with Neptune Memorial Reef. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. This is such a fascinating thing that we found out about. And I have to be honest with you, Michael, when I first heard about this, I thought it was the creepiest thing ever and thought, who would want to do something like this? And then I did some research and saw some pictures. Now, I can't wait. I mean, I'm gonna wait, but thank you so much for joining us to talk about this because this really is fascinating.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the invitation to tell our story.
What is your story? Because you're talking about the world's first. Nothing like this exists in the world, and you can be buried undersea. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the idea came about in 2002, and took us about 5 years to get all the necessary permits to build the Neptune Memorial Reef. But the idea was to create an artificial coral reef, also to make it a work of art, and then to make it extra special, it to become a memorial reef. So what we do is for individuals and families that select cremation, we take their ashes and we mold those into sculptures, and then they become part of the living coral reef. It's located in Key Biscayne.
Yeah, when you talk about taking people's ashes and molding them into sculptures, it's a little difficult to wrap your head around. And I don't know what I pictured to start. Like Ginger, I was a bit skeptical. And then you see the video and the pictures from underwater. And it looks incredible. Looks like one of the coolest places you could ever find to scuba dive. But I just can't imagine how you came up with this idea. Like, were you sitting at a bar? Were you doing mushrooms? What made you think that this was? Because once you see it, it's one of those ideas that you hear and you're like, that's crazy. And then you see it and you're like, okay, now I get it.
Brilliant.
Well, and I was not part of the original group that had the idea, but my understanding from stories I've been told is that it did start in a conversation in a bar. The area where the Neptune Memorial Reef is located had been designated as a site for an artificial reef, but nothing had ever been done with the site. So the group that had the idea of the Neptune Memorial Reef came up with a concept of let's create a coral reef that is indeed a work of art, whereas the concept of the reef is an artist's conception of the lost city of Atlantis. And then as the project began to move forward, that's when the idea came to make it a memorial reef and start the incorporation of cremation ashes in these sculptures, which actually help us continue building the reef. Because when we install these sculptures on the reef, they're permanent fixtures and they become part of the building blocks of the reef, and will continue to help us develop the remaining parts of our project.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the size of this thing, because right now, if I remember correctly, you guys have about an acre. You plan on growing this thing much larger than that. How much interest have you seen in it?
Well, so the current scope of the reef, when the first phase was deployed in 2007, it made up about a half acre underwater. We did our second phase of the reef in 2018, adding another half acre. So now we are encompassing about an acre. The permit that we have to develop the reef is for 16 acres. So we're really just getting started. We have many years of growth ahead. Once we develop the 16 acres, we will have room for approximately 250,000 memorials. Right now, we have about 1,500 of the memorials that have been deployed to the reef, but we have many more that have been prearranged, where families have reserved their spaces on the reef. So we have a lot of development in the years ahead, and we're very excited about that.
So if people can already get these spaces, and there are some that are down there, plenty, as you said, about an acre so far, let's get down to brass tacks. How much does it cost to get yourself a memorial under the sea where your family can come visit you while they're scuba diving?
Yeah, so it's actually very affordable. Our entry level placement package is $9,995. And then we have other packages of sculpture designs that are more. We also offer scattering services, and our scatter is a very unique service. It's not just taking the ashes out and scattering them in the ocean, but it's done at the Neptune Memorial Reef, and then we offer a copper memorial plaque that's custom engraved that is affixed to the reef for the family as a permanent memorial. So we have a lot of options for families that will fit their budget and their needs.
Okay, so the question I have, I'm looking at some of this, and it's absolutely stunning when you see the underwater image, right? But I've also seen what a cremated, the remains, like it's not a whole lot once you cremate someone, but you're looking at big statues. Are you combining more than one cremated person into a statue or a memorial? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So we have a couple of different things. First of all, we do not just mix mass amounts of cremation ashes. Each placement sculpture at the reef it is for an individual, or we also offer combining family members if they want to be together forever. So they will either have an individual, or they could have two or three, but it would be their family members. We also allow pets at the Neptune Memorial Reef. So we have families that want to have their pets mixed into the placement sculpture with them.
So I'm curious as to what your typical customer looks like. So who buys this? Because the question I'm sure a lot of people have is, I don't scuba dive. How do I visit them? So what does your typical client look like who's looking for something like this?
The majority of families that select Neptune Memorial Reef, they are environmentally conscious, and they have a tie to the sea. They're individuals who are concerned about our oceans. They are looking at a way to give back. And as we communicate with families, what we're doing is creating life after life. Because again, those sculptures that become part of the reef, they are building blocks. So they will help us continue increasing the size of the reef as we continue to develop those 16 acres.
Tell us a little bit about, because I love the water. I do not scuba dive, but I am fascinated by this idea. And then you had me even more and you said the pets are also welcome. Tell me a little bit more about what Neptune's connection is to the sea, because I think people hear the name Neptune and they think, oh, I recognize that. Can you go into a little bit of history?
So our tie to the sea is that we are making a difference. We too are environmentalists, and we deeply care about our environment. We deeply care what's happening to our oceans worldwide. So our mission is to make a difference. And this is something that we can do, and it's something that we can offer families to do. We have families worldwide that have selected Neptune Memorial Reef as their final resting place. So as we continue to educate folks and they learn more about our project and what we are doing, we continue to impact what we are able to do to make a difference.
So let's dig into that a little more. What is the environmental angle of this? Are you guys saying, like, is a regular cemetery that's out there on land more damaging to the environment than an underwater cemetery? Explain that to me.
Well, not really speaking about the cemeteries on land and their environmental impact. I can only speak for what we are doing. We're not just looking at being environmentally friendly, we're looking at being environmentally positive. We want to make a positive impact on the environment. And right now, cremation rates continue to increase year over year throughout the United States and worldwide for that matter. Where we live here in South Florida, cremation rates are about 70%. So we're giving individuals the option of something different than taking the ashes home with them, taking them to a traditional cemetery, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. But we're giving those families something unique, something different, and I can tell you, I go out with families to the reef when we do the installations, and I can tell you it's a very different feel when those families are out there on the boat. Those that get in the water with us, whether that's to snorkel, whether that's to scuba dive with our dive team, it's just a very different feel, and it's truly a celebration of life.
So are they actually out there when you guys put the memorial in the water?
We give families the option. They can come to our studio in Fort Lauderdale. That's where we do the mixing and casting of the placement sculptures. They're welcome to join us when we do that. They also have the option of going out with our dive team on the boat when we do the installation. So family members that are scuba certified are welcome to join our dive team, go down with us, even assist in the installation if they wish. We have some family members that are not scuba certified, but they come down a couple of days before we do the deployment, and they get scuba certified just so they can go down and be a part of it. We also have family members that make regular excursions to the reef to visit the memorial site of one. So it's really, we let families have any level of participation they want as long as it's safe. We're going to be sure they're taken care of, but they're welcome to have any level of participation that they want, and many of them do so. Some snorkel, some stay on the boat and sip champagne. Some want to go actually scuba dive with us. So whatever they want to do to make it special and meaningful for them.
I love this idea because, if you're scuba diving or snorkeling or on a boat, it's impossible to be sad. You are really just so happy to be out on the water and in nature. I often think about how many cemeteries I drive past, and I've had to bury both my parents and two siblings and some other people. There are a lot of people dying every single day. And I sometimes think about, are we going to run out of space to have these above ground cemeteries? And I feel like the answer is at some point, Michael, yes. And this is another way to give back to the earth, to give back to the environment. Is that what you guys are thinking too?
Yes, that's our mission. Is to be able to give back to the environment, and so many people are looking at ways of being able to give back. They're concerned about their footprint. So that we're giving folks a way to do so, and it helps not only the environment, but you can tell if you check out our. I'm gonna give a plug for our Google reviews. If you take a look at our Google reviews, you will see just how the families feel about their experience at the Neptune Reef.
Oh, it's a
Okay, so I have one
fascinating
more
situation.
question.
Okay, go ahead,
It
Gigi.
really is. Yeah. Have you had any weird requests that you've had to say, we cannot do that?
Well, our goal as a team is to always find out a way to say yes. Now, certainly, we're not going to do anything that is illegal or unethical, but we try to make a way to meet those special requests. One of the things, just to give you some examples, we have families when they join us at the studio for the mixing and casting. A lot of times they'll bring their children, and we try to make that very special moment for the children because it's something they're going to always remember. So we invite them if they have any small mementos or trinkets that are special uh, to their loved one or to them. They're welcome to bring those in. We can carefully place those within the mixture and the mold. Some kids, kids and concrete. We always allow them to put their initials in the bottom of it. Just small things that they will always remember. We hear from families often years later that will come back to us and tell us that hey, we were going through some photos. It just brought back so many memories. We get a lot of holiday cards from family members. A lot of we're in South Florida, so we have a lot of folks that come back for vacations and they stop by our studio. They call us. They say, "Hey, we want to go out on one of the dive boats and visit the site." So we really create a lasting, enduring relationship with these families.
It sounds like a fascinating idea. I bet dealing with these families is very interesting. And I like that you guys are you're not saying that this is, better than a normal cemetery. You're saying this is a way to actually add to the environment and give sea life a place to survive and live for years to come. And do you think this could possibly one day be the biggest man-made reef on Earth?
Oh, I definitely think it will be. I think there's no question about that. So many times artificial reefs are like in the mode of sinking a barge or a ship, and that's wonderful because that creates a marine habitat. We just wanted to do something unique and different, and so ours was actually built as an artificial reef. If you ever have the opportunity to dive the reef, or if you want to check out some of the footage, we have an active YouTube channel, our website as well. We have a lot of footage that our dive team has taken over the years. But if you take a look at that, you will just see the incredible success we've had. And the Neptune Reef is known as one of the most prolific coral reefs in Florida. So just check out, if you check out our videos, if you have the privilege of diving the reef, you will see when you get there that it is just flourishing with coral growth, but also marine life.
All right.
I think that's fascinating because, you take a person who has died and you make them a part of something that is really alive and they get to live on.
That goes back to our mission of creating life after life, and we share that with our families because so many families, after they've lost a loved one, that so many people do not know what to do, and a lot of families that have selected cremation, we find they find out about us after the fact. Some families that contact us, they have had their loved one's ashes at home for years, and they were looking for the right thing to do. And so that's why we continue to educate folks so that they do know about this option.
Interesting. Now, you're never going to stumble upon this. It is 40 feet underwater in Biscayne Bay, over 3 miles off the coast of Miami Beach, just to give you a little locator. So if you're wanting to go there, Ginger, you're trying to get there. It's not going to happen by accident.
It's a destination for sure. And I just love, I think of, going to a funeral home. It's very somber. Sometimes it's very dark and very sad. And then I look at you, Michael, you're just bright and vibrant. And I'm like, this is fantastic. And no one ever wants to talk about death. It's an inevitable thing. We never want to talk about it. But I think now is the time to do it. And if you want to go this way, this is the way you plan it for yourself.
Well, and certainly we respect traditions, and a lot of families have those traditions when it comes to funerals and burials, and so we respect that, and we are simply giving families another option, and this one is truly unique. And it's very fitting for families that are looking for something different and looking for a way to make a difference.
Yeah, I think it's no different than when some families want to send the ashes of their loved ones on a rocket. People are getting to do that now. This is kind of just in the opposite direction.
Yeah, similar. I would say that is even more expensive, putting it on a rocket, so then out to sea. Michael Tabers, thank you so much. Neptune Memorial Reef. If you're interested, we're going to put some links to this in our web article on clickorlando.com. Hopefully, Ginger and I don't wind up at that reef anytime soon.
Oh, I'm not planning on it, but hey. Thank you,
when
Michael.
your time comes. All right, this is another Florida's Fourth Estate. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.